Hey there, okay? Welcome to episode 5 of Strange But True. Today, we're going to talk about something that goes great with barbecue, and that is smoke flavoring. You know, that smoky flavor that you get in chips or anything that says it has a smoky flavor. Or even that smoky flavor that you get at restaurants sometimes where it just tastes like they put a bunch of smoke in the air. But also, if you want to go ahead and check us out online, we have all kinds of cool stuff there. The food doesn't really have any smoky flavor, except for the fact that it aids in the sauce, and the sauce isn't really smoky either. Well, it's actually artificial smoke flavoring. Now, before we start, please remember to like and subscribe. The liquid smoke may develop mold or bacteria or other microorganisms that can cause spoilage. They found that if they add certain chemicals to it, it can help preserve it for much longer, and it helps the flavor remain consistent. The most commonly used chemical for this purpose is sodium nitrite, which is often used in processed meats like ham or bacon. It has been linked to an increased risk of cancer in some studies. It's because you can tell that it has that smoky flavor, but it doesn't really have that smoky flavor. Does that make sense? Like there's some places where you can tell that it's not from a fire, but it's still a really good smoky flavor. You know what I'm talking about. So leave a comment down below and let us know if you agree with that. And if you have, maybe a memorable experience with going to a barbecue place or buying something that says smoky flavor on it, and you were like, yeah, that ain't smoky. Maybe it's better than a real smoky flavor. A lot of the times though, I've seen places that use it where it just does not work. Subscribing to the channel is one of the best ways to support us and the channel, and just ensure that you keep getting notified every time we have a new video come out, because YouTube won't always show you our videos unless you subscribe to the channel. So if you're a fan of the channel and you love watching videos, please consider subscribing. I was just thinking, why do people subscribe to channels that they don't watch? I mean, I've had people email me and say, I just went through and unsubscribed from 800 channels that I didn't watch, and I thought to myself, why would you have subscribed to begin with? I get all kinds of emails like that, but that one just kind of stuck out to me. I mean, I don't know, people do some weird stuff, and you're like, that's not actually smoky. Well, you can blame it on the chemicals. We post updates whenever we have new videos coming out, and it's just a good way to interact with us directly. We've got some exclusive perks like blooper reels and behind the scenes content and things like that. Right? So if you're a fan of the channel, you probably love watching videos on YouTube. And YouTube is always changing and evolving. They're always changing their algorithm. They're always changing what's recommended. But you know what? Never changes. Subscribing to the channel. However, it is also known to inhibit the growth of bacteria and mold, which makes it useful in preserving smoke flavoring. And the flavor can also change over time, becoming rancid or just not tasting good anymore. These chemicals are generally recognized as safe by the FDA, but they can cause allergic reactions or other health problems in some people. But you could tell that it wasn't really smoked. It was probably this artificial smoke flavoring. It just put a little bit on the burger or the chicken or whatever it is that they reserving you. And I'm like, why? Just get rid of it. Why pay for something that you don't use? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, some cakes and pies and things like that, 'cause it has a unique flavor. It's kind of sweet and savory, and it adds a depth of flavor that is hard to achieve otherwise. There's even a recipe for apple pie that calls for a tablespoon of liquid smoke. Liquid smoke in an apple pie. Who would have thought? Oh, when you buy chips and it says barbecue flavor and you're like, did they actually put it on a grill? Did they actually smoke these chips? It's like, no, they just put artificial smoke flavoring on it. That's where that flavor comes from. All right, let's dive into this thing called artificial smoke flavor. So basically, what happens is manufacturers will take smoke and condense it into a liquid. Now, this might sound kind of gross, but trust me, it's a lot more common than you think. So here's how they do it. First, They put wood chips or sawdust, whatever it is that they want to get that smoky flavor from, typically hickory or mesquite. Although sometimes they use fruit woods like apple or cherry for some of the smokiness, and they put those into a box or into a chamber. They heat it up, they spray it with water to produce steam, and they collect a condensate and they call it liquid smoke. And that's where you get the name liquid smoke. Not because it smokes the meat while it's cooking, but because they literally turn the smoke into a liquid. When they condense the smoke into a liquid, what they're doing is they're removing the water from the smoke itself. Now, this produces a very concentrated form of the smoke flavor. They can store it, they can transport it, okay? It doesn't evaporate over time, and they can add it to other things to make them taste like smoke. But there's a problem. It turns out that smoke, when it's in its natural form, tends to go bad, just like any other perishable product. However, manufacturers figured out a way around this. Other chemicals that are sometimes used include sodium benzoate, which is used in soft drinks and other foods, and potassium sorbate, which is used in cheeses and wines. So if you've ever gone to a restaurant and they brought out your food and it had like a smoky flavor, I gotta say though, some of the best barbecue places that I've been to, they use this artificial smoke flavoring too. Here's another interesting fact. This smoke flavoring, this liquid smoke that they turn into a powder, they actually use it in some desserts. If you've ever gone to a barbecue place and they bring out your food and it has that smoky flavor, but it doesn't really have that smoky flavor. Also, be sure to follow us on social media if you haven't already. And now, let's move on to the next part of the video. In fact, and if you're not a fan of the channel and you don't watch our videos, well then, just unsubscribe. Why would you be subscribed in the first place? Alright, so this next part of the video is actually kind of unrelated. I've also had people email me and say, hey, I haven't watched TV in 20 years, but I still pay for cable. Anyway, I just wanted to share that story with you. Alright, moving on. If you've ever eaten a piece of jerky or sausage or something that's supposed to be smoky. Speaking of chemicals, there's a chemical that's being added to our food supply that scientists are calling a hidden sugar. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can check out our support page. Alright, until next time, stay strong.